Hello, my dear ones. It is always, always, always a great pleasure to come and help you and work with you and spend time sharing. It's always fun and also to meet with you guys. It's so much fun to see everyone that's working their programs and getting well and, getting their lives happy again. That's what it's about. You can be happy in the midst of all this negativity. But you can only do it when you learn to detach yourself from the things of this world and to learn how to stop thinking so much. Spend some time alone with yourself in the presence of the now. For you guys that are having entity problems, if you feel that it is a bona fide entity, now all beings can be considered entities. Just because we have beings around here without physical bodies, it's hard to explain how these worlds are all put together, but they're all frequencies. And some of you can see these disembodied individuals because they're in their astral bodies or in between there. And you can see them. If you can see auras, you can see astral people. And these are just you and I that were here that don't have bodies anymore. And there's just a lot of that all over the place. So we have kept ourselves, the humans, dumbed down and ignorant, and the governments have kept us dumbed down and ignorant, and it's all about power and control. Well, these times are going to crash down and clean out. You'll see, just stand back and watch. I get a little passionate sometimes, but I always get the message, sit back and watch the show. So we're putting things out there because as these worlds are reformed, so to speak, it's important that the spiritual people, those people that bear the light and love, be here to help and infuse, as the world is decaying, the positive high side. Now again, I don't want to get positive and negative because there are your positive thinkers and all of this out there, and then there's your negatives and stuff, and either side is still creation. If you're thinking positive thinking and positive thoughts, you're still in creation. And you're still using your mind and you're still using your desires. And that can link a little more karma to you if you're not careful. Imposing in others is very dangerous in terms of karmatic responsibilities. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So just remember, be real careful about that. You really don't need to care about anything other than your experience and who you are. Enjoy others and enjoy your trip, but never lose the sense of the now. The only way you can get to yourself beyond the ego is in the now. And that's a real thin line between the id, the ego, and consciousness. But when you take on the etheric body, we call it the etheric body, that's the body of the ego. And that simply means that you went from the infinite to the finite. You took on a body that reduced your awareness from the all to the single, down. And in that you enjoyed or entered the world of duality, where now you're in a world where you have past and future, positive and negative, acid, base. And we just have to learn that duality is how all things work, including atoms, elements, compounds, solutions, and everything else. And it's that simple. Now I want to thank this individual, Christine. Such a beautiful card. Look at the vibrancy that this card gives off. I wish I had one here of dead meat. Show you the difference. Look at the energy. When you go into a produce section, kick back. Just kick back and observe all the energy and the colors that the produce section of a grocery store is giving off. And then walk by the meat section, take a little whiff. So that's the difference. And they put stuff on meat to make it look red and nice and all this kind of crap, but smell. And you really smell around the seafood place where they have all the seafood. But to look at the vibrancy and the beauty of colors, Dr. Jensen was heavy into colors and beauty. His thing was photographing flowers. I have tons of pictures of his around here. But this draws you in. It's so energetic and loving and meant for us that it just draws you in. And thank you for your comments. Very, very appreciative. This is pretty too. He drew this out, explaining the journey of bad foods and everything else. Pretty nice. Thank you, Rent. Fun stuff. Make it always fun stuff. Getting well. The labors of the world, put them outside of yourself. We don't need to take this stuff in. We want to keep ourselves free and happy. That way you'll move around. People will suffer. You won't. Don't care about the money. Don't care about anything. Doesn't matter. And everything will be supplied for you. You ever heard that one? I think that's a popular one in Christianity or something where let go and let God, so to speak. But if you let go and just enjoy your nowness, your spirituality and health will soar. But you always have to remember, you have to work off. We teach you some shortcuts to the God-conscious state, but there's always some things you have to work off. Things you created you probably don't remember, things like that. And so whatever comes your way, you just let it pass through. Even if it's pain, if it's thoughts of a bad experience that you had, let it all pass through you. Do not let anything stick, stay, and grow. Because that's your adrenal problems in the future, that's your thyroid problems in the future. And sometimes you practitioners that are working on these endocrine glands on people, sometimes they don't want to budge with herbs or glandulars. And that's when you know this person has an emotional karma or an emotional experience somewhere in their journey that hasn't left them. And that it's suppressing their adrenal function and their happiness. So there's been all kinds of things from when I first got into this. Primal Scream was hot back in the 50s and 60s, and then you had Young and Dream work where they were, the young and people were getting you back into your dream, lucid dreams, and getting you to become awake in your dream state so you could control them. There's all kinds of neat things that were, and I don't know what's out there now because I haven't paid much attention to that. But I always want to work on your spirituality, and the best way to protect yourself spiritually is get used to understand that you are the light and the sound, the music, in other words, and the love of it itself. And we are, if you'll understand that you, each and every one of you, are simply an individualized aspect of God. You can't have anything outside of the one. You just can't. And I was watching Oprah last night, Oprah and her own show, own station. And she had one on belief. It's a new program she got out on belief. And they had a Catholic lady that had a tragic car accident or something, and they said she'd never walk and all that. And she remembered reading a poem by Rumi when she was 8 years old, and the words of Rumi stuck with her all these years subconsciously. And she had that over and over again. And then she got into the whirling dervishes. And this was a story about her journey and initiation into the whirling dervishes. The whirling dervishes, of course, is a Sufi sect. It is I suppose I could say, it's the esoteric side of Islam. I don't know a lot about Islam. I know a lot about Sufis. And so Jalaluddin Rumi, Shams Tabriz was Jalaluddin Rumi's master. And a little bit of a power guy. But Rumi was such a love. He loved everything. He loved the atoms in the air. And I've said this to you before, if you want to know God, just start seeing everything as God and loving everything accordingly. And it'll pull you right into itself. But it's good stuff, you know. Some of you are down here not for all that. Some of you are down here to enjoy the ride. And that's what you do. You enjoy the ride. It doesn't really matter what one does in creation. It's all up to you. But it's better, in my opinion, to be more conscious, more awake, than it is to be sleeping. And man is sleeping big time. And we've got a lot coming this way, and I don't know. Maybe it'll shock man's consciousness. I don't know. Anyway, let me see here. Hi, I live in Hawaii and can't come to Florida. All right. I am a person who likes a diet made of veggies and fruit, but each time I stick to this diet, I lose a lot of weight. And since I am already not very fat, it's like I am losing my muscles. I wonder if it's due to the fact that I am not eating enough or if my diet is not for me. I am trying to find a diet that suits me from breakfast to dinner to be able to not lose weight or even gain weight. How can I do that? Thanks a lot. Well, I think that's a pretty good question in the sense, and it piggybacks on the question of what? Malabsorption, right? So, it isn't about how much, you know, it's funny. A lot of people think it's how much you eat, what you eat to put on muscles. You got to have protein for muscles, and nothing could be further from the truth. You can definitely pack on muscles, packing on protein, but you know what happens in doing that. You acidify your body, say goodbye to your colon, and say goodbye to your kidneys. And you are well on your way to forming tumors and everything else. Because the inflammatory response is a protein response. Period, plain and simple. Whether you call them virals or whatever. You got pathogen responses and stuff like this, but your main immune response is against acids and proteins, which you can almost call most acids proteins, I suppose. But if you're shifting a diet to raw foods and you're losing too much weight, what is your problem? Because you're eating foods that are superior in nutrition than what you've eaten before. You're eating foods that are electrically alive, and you're used to eating foods that are dead. So why are you losing weight if you're eating superior foods? And that goes back to that old thing of look at the foods people eat to keep their weight on. Starches and proteins. And both are acid formers and fattening and all kinds of problems. High phytic acids, you can go on and on and on down all these lines of grains, beans, meats, nuts, things like this. So you want to fix yourself instead of trying to find a diet or saying this diet isn't for me because I'm losing weight. That is the most pseudo-level thinking there is. You have to take a look at what's going on inside of you. You already know these foods are superior, and your body obviously likes them. Body loves living foods. So why do you lose weight? Because you are not having starches and complex sugars and things like that only put fat on, just like you said. So you have to fix malabsorption. This isn't something you can wish away, take a few supplements, it's gone. You want to clean the mucoid plaque out of the bowel walls. You got to reach interstitially into the lymph system and fix that because this is a big deal. Malabsorption is a big, big deal. Notice it leads to IBS, Crohn's, cancers, all kinds of things. And this is simply your lymph system. So it's a big deal. And you'll want to take some time and fix this, and you know what I'm going to say next. You're going to get a little skinny, and you're probably not going to be happy. It's better to have about 4 or 5 months in your life of being unhappy with your weight, or maybe even 6 months, if you tear into this properly, and then you'll have your life back and you'll see weight. Remember, we said this many times, and a lot of you have proved this over and over again. Weight will start coming on you again with the same food that you're eating that took it off. It's not that it's taking it off. It's just your nutrition can't get in. You were eating starches and proteins and things like this. That artificially packs on stuff because it's so much chemistry, the body has nothing else to do with it. You can't, with everybody not excreting chemistry properly. So this is a case you have to fix your lymphatic system, because if you focus on just the weight, you could end up with some serious GI tract problems in the future. You got to focus on why, and this is what you're asking, why? Well, malabsorption. And what causes malabsorption? The inability to absorb. So what could possibly block from the mucosa of the small bowel absorbing into and through the cells of the colon wall, or the small bowel wall, and into the lymph or vascular capillaries? You'd be surprised that a lot of nutrition doesn't go into the blood from the small bowel. It goes into the lymph system. And there's a good reason for this. You know, that blood has to be perfect, or close to it. And when you taint that blood with dead animals and beans and all the wapajawed chemistry that's out there, that's chemistry. Wapajawed is, I think that's a country name for way out of balance. So all this out of balance chemistry causes all these problems that man's facing, and of course most of it's to the acid side instead of the base side. And life on this planet favors the base or negative charge. And when you're positively charging your cells with acids, it leads to nothing but pain, suffering, and all the chemical processes we know, agglomulation, coagulation, all these sort of things. So then you see blood clots, tumors, you see all kinds of things, hardness, stiffness, tightness, you see all these things. But you want to really move that lymph, because you just, that's a problem you have to fix. It isn't about the changing your types of foods. You should always understand the food that's meant for us as Homo sapiens. And it is my claim, as well as many other health individuals for the last 100 years, that we are islander species. Remember, National Geographic as well. We're frugivores. So, solids are okay, but not as digestible by far. So obviously people have time. If you've lived on fruit for any length of time and try to go back to salads, you can feel the difference. Sometimes you have to go back for balance and everything, but you can really feel the difference between a fruit, berry, and melon lifestyle and a green and veggie lifestyle. Huge difference. Huge energetically, huge in every way. But anyway, get that GI tract cleaned up. How do you start moving your lymph systems? What do you got to do? Well, the first thing you got to do is go on fruits, berries, and melons. That's essential. You're in a detox now. This is not everyday living. This is detox. So however you choose to look at that, I would definitely get up on my fruit, berry, and melon diet. I would fast. Have fun fasting. Don't look at it as a chore. Say, you know what? I'm excited. I want to do a 5-day grape fast and see what it does to me. You know what? If I can go 5, I can go 10. If I can go 10, I can go 20. And so you push it as far as you can. You have fun with this. This is a game between you and your self-discipline. Knowing what you're doing, knowing why you're on these high energy, high nutritional foods, knowing that they're going to clean you out. They're going to pull all this acid out. They're going to hydrate you. They're going to energize you. It's all good stuff. Yeah, we have people, humans got themselves in very, very deep holes. So it takes a little bit to climb out. So, yeah, some can have experiences with pain or this or that in detox. Yeah. But keep plowing the field. Keep going. Because the beauty on the other side is well worth every minute you spend disciplining yourself. And when you look back, you'll be at a level that you'll be amazed. So keep going. All right, this is Agnes. First of all, thank you so much for your previous videos. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. My question, what is fruit? Interesting. Am I right by saying that green beans, eggplant, peas, cucumbers, zucchini are also fruits because they are the result of a mature flower? I think so. I asked them, there was a fruitarian society in Washington, D.C. back in the 70s. And I wrote to them to see what they thought what all was fruits, because I felt the same thing. I felt that anything a plant or tree bears is a gift to us. Because when you look at the simple design of a human, you don't have fur, anything that would protect you from the cold. You, of course, our skin some of us turned white because we've been in northern climates too long. So we have linen protection problems. But you can go back and live a good raw lifestyle and still live in northern climates. Especially when your endocrine glands are fixed, your thyroid is up there, you'll be warm. You are eating cold foods, but when everything is good, your circulation's good, your lymph flow's good, you can stay warm. And you can use teas and things. But you have to remember, if you're trying to adapt your body to your environment where you live, you're not going to be healthy. You have to adapt your environment to what the body requires for its health. And we have frugivore bodies. We're more refined than primates by far. We should be even better in our diets than they are. More refined, meaning basically fruits, berries, melons. Because I don't think too many humans like to eat ants or termites, things like that. So we don't have any claws. We don't have anything aggressive to show us. And remember, we talked a lot about the paleo thinkers and National Geographic quashing that, saying that that's not true. Caveman did not have meat in their guts. He might have had a little here and there, but predominantly a vegetable matter. That's from National Geographic. So yeah, I agree. I think cucumbers, so that's a lot of food. However, to me, there's another category, and I have yet, and you guys might help us, I have yet to come up with a name. Veggie fruits? I don't know. You know, there's another name it should be for more veggie fruits, more low ground fruits, as opposed to your tree. Yeah, I think your berries are low ground. So I don't know. We'd like to find a name for those to designate the difference between your tree fruits, basically, and your plant fruits. But you notice your tree fruits are much more astringent in nature. And that's what it takes. When you wake up to why one's in pain, why one gets a distorted body and all this, and you enter the world of acidosis and learn that, then you really get to see how dehydrated man really is, and that's part of the process is hydration. And it takes a while when you think about it. It takes a while to dehydrate systemically, and the reverse is true. So I think just like you were saying, that these things are fruits. But to be honest with you, eggplant, part of the nightshade family, not really into that. Also with the tomatoes and the potatoes. You know, this is a toxic plant family that's been hybrided down, so we do eat them. But look at tomatoes. I mean, I'm an old country boy. We used to throw tomatoes at each other in the cornfields, try to hit each other, and you couldn't see them. I mean, of course, that our dads were pissed about good beefsteak tomatoes, throwing them like crazy. But they're very acidic. You know, you can get that twine. Of course, you can get the orange and yellow ones, but it's just enough to say that some of this. Cucumbers are great. Peas are great. You know, green beans are pretty tough, but the peas inside of them are good. The little beans inside. But this all should be done raw. We used to open up the pea pods and eat the peas in the fields. So good raw. And how about raw corn? But, you know, it's still starch and undigestible. But if you're going to eat corn, eat it raw. But you can see that you don't have to go hungry. You don't have to go hungry at all. We don't ask people to go hungry, although fasting is a good thing to get used to once in a while. If you've never water fasted, take a couple of days and enjoy it. You got to turn your mind around about things like this. Because remember, the mind and emotions are locked into activity and into creation. It isn't consciousness. So you're the one, the consciousness, you're the conscious being using bodies. So you have to develop the ability to control your bodies. And the only way you can develop your ability to control your mind, control your emotions, control your physical body's desires, so to speak, is to become conscious. That's all you can do. Mind can't control mind well. It ends up creating a lot of cause and effect factors or karma for itself. But that's what it's designed to do, is keep you in creation. It's easier to get here than it is to get out. I've said that for years. To get out, you can't care to be here anymore. You have to just enjoy the Dharma, enjoy the play, enjoy the soap opera without being, too much of a participant in it. I mean, you can participate in life, but don't care, because it'll grab you and choke you to death. Bad. Went to the dentist. Lower left back tooth is cracked. Ugh. They want to do a root canal. I requested it be removed. The dentist said I ought to get and when the tooth is removed, I ought to get something. And when the tooth is removed, as well as an implant in front of that tooth where I had a tooth removed previously. Oh, well, I tell you what, in my opinion, you got to do, Sarah, is you got to clean your interstitial spaces in your gums and teeth, because you're losing your teeth here. And you don't want to do that. And that's all about the lymph and acidosis in the gums and mouth and all this other stuff. So that's what you want to think about. You want to think about correcting this problem. You're starting to lose too many teeth here. Well, I sit with root canals only if they use a calcium concentrate of some sort to fill the canal. In terms of implants, it's all about chewing and looks. There's a new zirconian or whatever implants. I've tried to go that route. I don't know. They're not crystals like they claim, but still. I don't know what to tell you. It's just that teeth are nice to have. Chewing is nice to have. So I have a couple of implants myself. But my lymph system was so bad in my mouth. Remember, my family lost all their teeth young. So it's just a lymph doing. So if you can see what the lymph does in your mouth, because you can see that, imagine what it's doing in your brain, or in your liver, or in your heart, or in your lungs. Because the same thing's going on everywhere. When you have acidosis going on in the mouth, my dear ones, it's all through you. That's why there's 0 success rate in treating esophageal cancer with chemo. 0. And that starts after the 2nd or 3rd year, actually. Whew. If you pull the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, check out their webpage and their website and take a look at their success rates, which is oncology, basically. Question. Is it a good idea to get a titanium implant? I've got them. And I tell you, I love them because I can chew. What is the alternative titanium implants that you know of? Zorcon or something. I forget what they're called. They claim to be crystalline-like material, but I've talked to people that went that way. Tough way to go, and I don't know if it's all cracked up the way it was. Some lady went that route and said it wasn't quite cracked up the way it should be. So I don't know. There's a guy in Texas, I think, that's doing these. So you might Google that and see what you come up with, Sarah. But, honey, I don't know. But I tell you what, make sure your parathyroid is on. Do you have any TMJ or anything? You guys that do, remember the parathyroid gland. You need to rebuild and strengthen your skeletal and connective tissue systems. And you need good parathyroid hormones to do that. So thanks, Sarah, for the question there. Where am I at? God, time flies so fast. Dear Dr. Morse, I am reading your book, The Detox Miracle, and in my health situation, it makes sense perfectly. I am starting to understand why in many years of homeopathic therapy, I have no results. I have a lot of food intolerances, including many vegetables and fruits, and it is not possible to follow the raw food diet 3 years ago. I became electrosensitive and my life was in danger and I need to detox. Do you think you can help me? Oh, absolutely. Here's the thing, guys. And this individual brings up a really good point here. your lymph system it's so bad. That's your immune system. But it's also your allergy system. When you have allergies and things, that just means you have chemistry in your body, too much of a chemical or something that's in the substance you're responding to. And in today's world, our lymph systems are so backed up, which is, keep in mind, that's your immune system, that very little is going on here. So it's enough to say, thanks. It's enough to say that I would probably take off with this, with fruits in the morning, have you a fruit breakfast. Now find the fruits your body doesn't respond to, but it'll still detox you. Try the subacid category. Maybe try apples. Might slip down to bananas or something. Something that's not as astringent, because when your body's, I guess a lot of people don't realize, when your skin is exploding and all red with psoriasis, eczema and the like, and you're full of pain and swelling, your body's ready to split open and explode. Your body's so full of inflammation, which is acids and edema and everything else, that, we get in serious shapes. We get in serious trouble. So sometimes you do have to go a little slower. But don't mistake, if you have allergies, don't mistake your body's cleaning and redness on the skin and everything for an anaphylactic shock. You must know the difference. An anaphylactic shock, you'll get the scratchy throat closing. That's the time to back off. Take a lymphatic formula or whatever, a blood formula, whatever, to neutralize all this. But you can have similar symptoms, just that your body's eliminating. If you have bad allergies and you're going through that phase, don't stop it. Because you can only go so slow while the body's getting chewed on by these acids. So every day you're acidic, your body's breaking down cells and tissues and things like that. So I would get on to things. So if you're having a hard time, pull back to the good old boys in the white hats, pull back to the veggies, go back to the low-impact foods. And that's going to be your vegetables, green drinks, things like that. Then move to your green drinks, then move to your fruit, and then your fruit juice if you're going to work yourself up to a high level. But fruit always in the morning. Got to get that. Get your body used to that. That cleans, turns on, electrifies the mind, the brain, the nervous system, cleans the kidneys, gets the bowels flushed. Everything you want to take place takes place when you have a breakfast of fruits, which is a breakfast of champignons, of course. From there on, if your body's having a real tough time in terms of being very backed up lymphatically and you've been on steroids and stuff and you're ready to explode, go slow. Do your green drinks, maybe have a salad a day, but don't stay there too long. Use your herbs of kidneys, adrenals, and lymphatic herbs, GI tract herbs, to get in there and start cleaning you while you're on the veggies. And as you use these herbs, which are veggies, and you use all these veggies and some fruits and berries, and you start working yourself, pretty soon you can have a little more fruit. Pretty soon you get a little more fruit, and a little more and a little more. Pretty soon you got yourself out of trouble. Sometimes you have to go real slow like that. There's no sin or crime in that sort of thing. That's the art of detoxification. That you know when to help someone and how to help someone in those stages where you don't have to cram raw and fruit down them. You can pull them back a little bit and let them get the body done a little bit, cleaned up a little bit, so they can tolerate that level. Some people walk away never to find their health because they don't understand that. And you can't just because you get so toxic and try some fruit and your body starts to clean and you see an expression and say, "It's not for me." You're weak. You can't be weak in today's world. You must be strong, knowledge up. And I don't mean knowledge by studying and academics. I mean seek truth. Well, the more acidic you are, the more electrosensitive you become, that's for sure. And take a look around. Are you using the computer too much, cell phones too much, things like this? Get away from some of that for a while. Detox this electromagnetic energy out of you. that's the only way you can get through this, my friend, is you've got to keep pushing the door and keep pushing until you get through it. And then, the weather's good. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Hi there. Firstly, I want to say how much I have enjoyed your videos. Oh, thank you so much. Who is this? Oh, this is Sara too. Oh, I got another Sara here. Okay. This is a little bit of a lengthy one. Let me see here. She likes the spiritual side. Yeah. Good girl. Well, you know what? It's our Savior. I mean, you can play and enjoy the place if you want. And that's okay. That's what it's for. But people lock themselves here, and they get so unhappy because they lost their freedom, they lost their joy, they've lost their power, because there's so many souls around here ready to take it. You know, there's nothing different in an entity out of body trying to take your power than one in the body trying to take your power. And there are plenty of them. There's plenty of energy suckers. You talk to someone, and the time you get away from them, you feel drained of energy. They're an energy sucker. Some people just love to suck the energy out of other people. They just have a knack at it. And you have to watch that and not give up your power to others. It's your power, your joy, your happiness, and let them get theirs. And in relationships, the same thing is very true. If you want a really good relationship, everybody get their own powers and then come together. Anyway, let me see. Thank you, my dear. I really feel I need someone's help. Okay. I am a member of Dr. Morse's Health Club. I don't even know where to start. Right now I'm dealing with a breakup, and I have almost a 3-year-old son. I'm Scottish but live in New Zealand. Ooh, New Zealand. I like New Zealand a lot. I don't have much family here, so not much support on hand. Well, you know what, honey? It'll definitely make you stronger. It's going to require strength out of you. And that's okay, because strength is good. Not power over others and things like this. I'm talking about spiritual strength, control strength, consciousness strength, emotional strength. I have had an interest in natural health for many years and done the Brett Elliott detox of a few years ago, which I couldn't handle emotionally. Really, at that time, it just opened up the doors to the start of my healing, both emotionally and physically. Discovered at the time I had post-traumatic stress disorder resulting in growing up with alcoholic parents and intensifying by my resulting destructive relationships in my adult life. I got heavy into drugs in my teens and 20s and binge drank from the age of 11 woo, to December last year. Wow. When I finally went to my first AA meeting. When you keep going to these AA meetings for me, when you go around and you say, I'm Sara, I'm 6 months sober, I'm a year sober, I'm 5 years of recovering alcoholic, things like that. I want you to remember, until you finally get done with that consciousness, you still have it. Anybody that just disciplines themselves to stop drinking or stop smoking or whatever hasn't overcome it at all. When you overcome something, you're free from it. You're free from the thoughts of it. You're free from it. So how many years are you going to be recovering? There was one guy down at AA down here, is 30-some years, and I had a biker guy I cleaned up, so he loved to go down there and jip him a little bit. And he asked this guy said, well, I'm a 30-year recovering alcoholic. And my friend turned around and said, well, when are you going to be done with that? Over the last 2 months, I have given up caffeine, dairy, thank God, gluten, and meat. Well, just a few months ago, but had a couple of slip-ups. Well, we all do. That's nothing to worry about. You know, that's not the deal. That's not the big deal. Having cheat once in a while is not a big deal. The big deal is, what are you doing consistently? Where's your focus? Do you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it? That's why these vids. I want you to understand yourself, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and then no one can take that knowledge and awareness from you. And it's truth, so no one can negate it because it's true. It works every time. You might struggle getting to work because of your toxicities and your weaknesses, but that doesn't make it any less true. It just means you have to work a little harder to get yourself through it. But just remember this, each and every one of you that are struggling, that are suffering, are doing it for reasons. There's nothing in the worlds of God that are for happenstance and that are just there. Every single thing has a reason behind its existence. Everything you go through, most of it is to bring strength to your consciousness. So you can become more of a conscious dreamer and control what comes out of you. Because some people just let everything come out of them and there's no control. Well, when you're bumping uglies with everybody else's universe, you can create a lot of karma for yourself. Meaning, if you hurt others, you're now tied to that other one to pay them back, whether you know it or not. And going in front of another individual, called a priest or whatever, and saying you're sorry doesn't forgive you for it. God doesn't work that way. Everybody has to pay the price. I don't know what to tell you. And they're the only ones that think that, because all the spiritual beings in all the universes know this fact. That is the big thing that's taught throughout all the worlds of God, is duality and cause and effect. You got to get with that. And then you understand how things work. You ever sit in front of a preacher or minister and sit there and wonder what the hell is he talking about? I got heavily into drugs in my teens and 20s, binge drank till the age of 11. My God. Over the last 2 months, I have given okay. Now, a wee bit of my health history. I was a child, I had tonsillitis at the time, and now have huge pitted tonsils from repeated infections. Well, at least you got them. So, why did your tonsils swell? And maybe, first of all, what are your tonsils? And then why did they swell? What system is your tonsils tied to? Remember, the body is made in systems. So what system does your tonsils belong to? There you go, the lymphatic system. God, that word's used a lot around here, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And what do you get out of tonsils? The little tonsil stones? Now, they smell real good, don't they? That's all protein. And that smell good. And that's what people smell like deep inside of themselves. That's putrefaction. And it's gnarly. Fermentation isn't a real sweet smell either. It's sweeter. But it's enough to say that your tonsils are part of the lymph system. They're the lymph nodes for the throat. Your lymph system was backed up then. That means your kidneys and adrenal glands, was not doing their job for you, whether you're in the genetic weakness in those areas or what. I have had depressive tendencies from my early teens to now. So we might want to take a look again at that what gland. Remember, depression, parathyroid gland, calcium. Don't want to just take calcium. You want to fix the parathyroid gland to utilize your calcium. You don't want to take isolates of calcium because you might be enjoying the world of arthritis. You know, calcium is an ionic just like anything else, and when it does, problems. It's like everything else. It becomes a rock. That's where you get stenosis or bone spurs and all these sort of things. Acids pull and leach. It's all about ionization. And that then creates, a lot of problems. The burning up of your electrolytes. And the problem is that when you have all these acids being stagnation in your body, it takes a lot of positive, or what they would call negative, electrical chemistry to balance that. That's why, remember, you all feel better on lipid diets when you have a lot of acidosis or inflammation in the body. Because it takes fewer lipids than it does electrolytes to chime in and try to override or give some type of suppression of the effect of acids. The problem with using lipids, of course, as we talked about this, is ketosis and acidosis. My PMT has always been terrible on the side of anger, rage, and hopelessness, which is difficult for me and anyone around me to deal with. Well, honey, I would then get on the female reproductive formula and tone myself. Now remember, I'm thinking of pituitary. So you want to get in your endocrine glands. Is your parathyroid down because of your pituitary? That would then translate over to the menses side, and all the other sides, your thyroid into your self-love side, and emotional, and not your emotional side, but your mental side, and then your adrenals, of course. So sounds like you have some endos down. Not surprised, though, are you? Yeah, we live in a world where these tissues are going down in everybody. I had an abortion when I was 20 at 12 weeks, and after I got severe anxiety and depression. Well, you know, I don't know how to say this properly. But when humans procreate, they create physical bodies, right? But they don't create the individual soul. Not at all. So as a mama, you guys have to look at this, because sometimes you get deeply emotionally tied to these babies, and that can actually bind you to that soul for lifetimes. I see this all the time. Mom and babies swapping places and all kinds of things, moving down the karmatic tree. See that a lot. And you have to realize you're just supplying the physical body for that soul. That soul has been put there by God, because that everything about you, your male counterpart, if you're a female, all of this is tied into what this soul needs to learn in this lifetime. Everything that you have, you get a soul that fits in there like a glove, so it can learn what you have to teach. Everything is like that. Everything. Nothing's for happenstance. So I've always said, you know, we have a lot about abortion on this planet. I hear this all the time, and you have your people, and you hear your heartbeats and all this. But I have to tell you, tissue and neurological systems and things are not consciousness, and you can't kill consciousness. You couldn't kill God if you tried. You couldn't kill anything like that if you tried. These are bodies. These bodies are material bodies. They come and go. Your other bodies are more energy or light bodies. They come and go. So the real consciousness, the reality of life is the God state and the individual souls, not the bodies you use. These things are just like cars. You can trade them in. You can get them fixed. You can repair them, change colors. Do whatever you want with them. And people do. You know, all kinds of things with it. Okay. They're just bodies you're using, but it's you need to address sometimes. It's the you need to take some time and get to know, because that's your happiness and joy. Your happiness and joy isn't chasing thoughts and desires. You can buy 20 new cars all you want. That doesn't change your happiness, maybe for short periods of time. But the real sukkah, the real happiness, the real joy, the real nirvana comes when you merge with your true self, when you merge with the God state. Then you can't even put words on it. There's nothing to say about it. That's why sometimes when you ask me about spirituality, sometimes I really don't know what to say. Because you can talk all day long about things. In reality, it's the listener that gets it all. The listener and the observer. And that's what I'm saying to you guys. If you want a spiritual technique, develop one of being the listener and the observer. You know, I always tell you some days, take the day and become the observer. When you break the chains of thought, you've got it. And if you can keep working that, your life will never be the same. Cool stuff, guys. Well worth the journey. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, it's okay too. Keep working on your health. Get your physical body healthy. Doesn't matter about the other side. What matters is you and your health and your happiness. If you just want to focus there, just focus right there. but take time for yourself. You know, there's plenty of caregivers out there. Take time for yourself. So you could have had some of anxiety and depression, but I can tell you just the thought of an abortion and everything for some ladies, even though, again, I don't have any problems with physical body stuff like that. But your adrenal glands could have went way down. You already are on the borderline of depression. You've made note up here, so that's the parathyroid. So you could have been a little bit of a neurological shock from the surgery and all that, and that just brought all these things back out. But I submit to you, my dear one, these are things you already have going inside of you. Your anxiety, your adrenal glands, your depression, your parathyroid. So I submit to you again that you already have these weaknesses, that experience exacerbated the experience for you. Panic attacks started a few years later, which were absolutely debilitating. They're horrible. I was on the contraceptive pill from age 15 to about 30 and on antidepressant, throughout my 20s on and off, and also beta blockers for anxiety for a short time. Holy crap. Look at how the medical doctors treat this. When I reached 30, I started putting my back out every so often. I was told 2 years ago that I had scoliosis and that it will never improve. You know what's funny? These medical doctors are so easy to say never, can't. You know, it sure puts them in a dumb light, doesn't it? I have to say, you know, when you take a look at what we do with people, that's got to hurt. That's got to hurt a medical doctor to see that, because those are things you only dream of. You know, the complete regeneration of the human body from a very distorted, acidic state. Pretty good stuff. So it's just enough to say that we all got to get online here and start these little pseudo things by giving beta blockers for anxieties and crap like it. Give me a friggin' break. People are really seriously in trouble and need help, and that's why I'm coming to you guys. And some of you know how you got here. But that's why I'm turning to you guys. The time is now. This planet is suffering, and the time is essential. As the decay comes, we'll infuse it with the light, love, and consciousness. And there's a lot of souls doing that. You've got a lot of yogas doing it. You got a lot of spiritual monks doing it. You got a lot of people helping. You know, we got a friend planting crystals around the world. So there's a lot of beings helping to bring this planet into line. A lot of underground's been going on for a while. You'll see more and more come out now because things are speeding toward the end. When I okay, let me see here. But you're telling me here that you have a parathyroid weakness. Your back's going out. You get scoliosis. So everything you're saying here is drawing me to your parathyroid. Now, do we go parathyroid or do we go pituitary? Not to confuse you guys, but these are the only part where some of this could get confusing is that you have a master gland and its little snug area of the hypothalamus area, or hypothalamus area. And so you have a lot of hormones coming out of there that control everything. You have your AZTH controlling the adrenal glands, of course, your TSH controlling your thyroid gland, PTH, your parathyroid gland, your FSH, your follicle stimulating hormone, your luteinizing LH. You got all these types. You got about 9 of them, I think Attila was saying. I counted 7 or 8, but there could be more. So we've got all these hormones that the body has to deal with, and you have each gland. So there's a lot going on here. And imagine when all these hormones are suppressed with mucus and inflammation, edema from the swelling of tissue from acidosis and all this. So you can imagine that when these are suppressed, the hell that ladies can experience, from extreme pain in menses to excessive bleeding in menses. to no menses at all, to depressions. I mean, the list is so long. That's why you can only make things healthy. And you make things healthy by simply reversing how you made them sick. And this is why you people have to get with the fact that it's your food, it's your consumption that's at the core of this. So we change that to fix this, but we have little helpers. And those little helpers, of course, are our botanicals. Well, not to get on an extensive letter here, honey, because I just don't have time for other people when I read these things. Can't seem to take the emotional pain, so I have taken Xanax to numb it. Well, it's enough to say that you're probably running low blood pressure, too. So I would do this. I'm going after my adrenal glands, right? Well, I might do a glandular for 1 month, but then I'm moving back to the adrenal herbs with licorice root. If you have low blood pressure, hitchhike licorice root with your adrenal glands. I would also take the endocrine gland formula. I would take a picture of my eyes and assess whether I do have a pituitary gland or a parathyroid gland problem, and I'd go after that. And I would be very aggressive in going after that, particularly with the parathyroid gland, because your back's twisting, all this is going down. Your connective tissue will go down, bruising easy, and this is a line of things a mile long that can go on here. So you want to pull yourself out of this. So to pull yourself out of this is to make your glands healthy. And to understand that is to understand how you make them unhealthy, right? Well, what is something you do every day, off and on, all through the day? You consume. You consume. Plus, the human body, and I've always said that the human body is a sponge. It walks through and life absorbing chemistry. So we have very toxic chemistry in the air. I don't know if they're true about the chemtrails and things, but if it is, somebody's needs to have a price paid. But just imagine all this chemistry we're absorbing. And then, of course, the EMFs and stuff like this, we're absorbing all the radiation. In an acid body, everything agglomerates, coagulates, and sticks. So this is why, for all reasons, even electromagnetic reasons, it's vital that you have a base-dominant or an alkaline-dominant diet. You don't have to worry about that because it comes naturally with fruits, berries, and melons, and veggies. And the ratios are pretty good. Of course, they're all hybrids, but the ratios are still pretty good, not antagonistic enough to cause symptomology in us. So I get all this. Yeah, I know you have some suicide thoughts, but you know what? Look at your antidepressants. Your antidepressants are your suicidal thoughts, your tendency to want to kill others, and things like this. So, needless to say, you need to fix these things. I'd also deworm and defungal myself. Go after my kidneys and adrenals. That's your lymph system. The lymph system itself. Go upper circumbrain nerve. Get some things going on up here. Get some movement going, some energy moving into these cells. Then I would definitely want to do the parathyroid gland at least 2-3 times a day. And I would hitchhike that with the bones formula 2-3 times a day. If you really want to hit this hard because you really want to regenerate and not stop this back from twisting. And whoever told you that scoliosis is unfixable probably doesn't make a very good healer because all scoliosis is very curable, honey. And very curable. I never had a case of scoliosis. I don't think we ever did not cure if they followed what we told them. This scoliosis isn't a disease. Let me see here. I have studied a year of naturopathy, but stopped to have my son. Good. Get back on studying it then. Have some fun with this. You're getting a lot of information here you'll never get in naturopathy if you hadn't noticed already. Marcy's just graduating this week from naturopathic school. And the funny thing I have to laugh at is all the students are going over to her for answers, not the professors. And they got to the glands, and Marcy was asking the professor about the parathyroid gland. He said, oh, those are insignificant. They don't mean nothing. What? So that's the problem out there. So I hope that we can fill in some of these spaces for you guys. Important stuff you need to know in your healing of others. And it's all fun, and you can help someone tremendously. Not very many people doing that out there right now because they don't understand how to do that. And you guys are learning how to do that. That's everything. If I can save you years and years and years of studies and ups and downs and everything, let me do it. Because when we can start from here, always, we all go up, we all go up, we all go up. But everything is rehashed and everybody keeps starting with the same old damn cycles over and over again. And it has to implode. And that's what's happening. You know, the Sufis and not the Sufis, I'm sorry, the Hopis and the Sus came out. And both said you can't stop it, but you can help infuse it with a little more love. That's pretty good for Hopi elders and Sioux elders. So I am a really bad financial position right now and have been missed a rent payment, and my biggest expenditure other than rent is health food, and that's not even organic. I know it. I guess I'm just after some guidance. I can send in a photo of my iris, but don't have the best camera right now, and just wanted to know if you were able to find me first of all. Other symptoms I have had are hair thinning on my temple area since pregnancy and bumpy, pimply arms since being a teenager. So let's go back, okay? Other symptoms. Thinning of hair. What possibly could thin your hair outside of acidosis? Bumpy, pimply arms. That's all lymph. That's all lymph. I also had a tendency of sabotage all my health efforts by binging on chocolate. It's winter here in New Zealand, so I try to eat raw, but when it's cold, all you want is something hot to warm yourself up. I know that. At this time of year, watermelons are $4 per kilo, and grapes are $7 a kilo. That's not even organic. You talk often about eating organic or at least sun-ripened fruit. Is it worth me doing only a minimal amount of organic due to cost? I tend to buy frozen berries too. Is frozen okay? Wish I lived somewhere like Florida or California where all is readily available. Well, sorry for all the detail. Well, sweetheart, you got to survive on the finances that you can. Hopefully in the future, when all is said and done and we all get pulling together with the Costa Rican project and all of us and we get our seminars, we can have some funds to help some people. We don't have a lot of people donate to us to help others. When we do, we burn through that so fast you can't even see straight. Our company, I can't even begin to tell you how much we help others financially. You'd be shocked. It's amazing how much we give away. We're trying, but we can't give everything away, or we go down. And I've had a whole life of going down. I've started my practice many times over again. It's just a tough world out there. But it's enough to say here. I see parathyroid, maybe pituitary. You want to deal with that. You want to deal with your lymph system, obviously. And so the most important thing, number one, is your foods. So always seek to find the ripest fruit and berries and melons you can. Frozen is okay. Outside of that, no, nothing. So your best is fresh, your second best is frozen. You can get organic frozen pretty good that way. Diet for me is number one. If you're going to spend time with diet, spend time on fruit and detox with fruit. Don't waste your time. If you're going to do raw and you want to do a lot of vegetables, you're going to feel a little better, and that's all you're going to get. If you're going to do it with food, you got to do it with foods. You're going to use foods to fast on. You're going to use foods to detox, of course. You're going to use different foods to pull yourself different ways. In other words, you're going to move from, say, grape fasting to lemon juice fasting to maybe bowls of fruits, and then, mono, then poly, mono, poly. Use that. Basics. Endocrine glands. Kidneys. GI tract. Basics. Lymphatic system. Kidney and adrenals are the lymph system, but lymph herbs are great to help pull and draw on this system. So basic 4 or 5 formulas if you can afford them. If you can't, they might give you a little break. You talk to them in there. I don't have control over that anymore. They don't like me to control that. I give everything away. And I don't pay the bills, so the bill payer is yelling at me. We don't have the money. I don't care. But it's enough to say that you will get help. Okay? But help yourself, get you on your fruit, get yourself focused. Take a look at this. Now, you are going to have to think, for me, I think you ought to get a parathyroid glandular with the bones formula at some time and hit it. But I think you need to get up in here and you need to detox the sinuses and get everything moving. Get your kidneys filtered, get your bowels cleaned up, and get yourself cleaned up, sweetheart. So when you can't afford it, you rely on the foods first and then the herbs. When you can buy that basic stuff because you know the systems you want to focus on. And that's what you want to focus. You always focus on kidney and adrenals if you focus on nothing else. They're at the core of the blockage. They're at your core of anxieties for sure. And so you know immediately if you have anxieties, what do you know immediately? You have lymphatic problems because what's down? Your adrenals. And when your adrenals are down, guess who else is down? The organ they sit on. So you have to fix all that. And foods and herbs are the only true ways you can fix things. We use glandulars or play with them a little bit. But your foods and herbs, those are the two sweeties. And you can do everything with them. Everything. Cool stuff. Olivia, the anti-vaccination movement is the reason there was an outbreak of measles in my town. Measles? Funny, isn't it? You know, let there be all these expressions of lymph elimination or lymph toxicity. It'll be far better than vaccinations. Because indeed, if they're going to use that modus operandi to terminate a lot of the humans, you probably don't want to take one, but they're going to try to force even the adults, which when someone can force an adult to get vaccinated, this world is done. And it's going to destroy itself. So you have to be real careful. The anti-vaccination movement. I tell you what, that is so important. I can't even tell you, to get people educated on vaccines and the toxicity and what's going on with the vaccination movement. These medical doctors are sold 100%. But these guys, again, remember Dr. Tenpenny found that the CDC centers lied to a lot of medical doctors about some of the stats and effects of vaccines. And I remember the case where it was a class action case, I remember, where a lot of the families of ADDs and ADHDs and the like sued pharmaceutical companies. Well, the judge didn't let it go any place, really. I mean, they were found innocent. It was like, yeah, right. You know, it's just, that's the problem. And that's the thing I found. That's the thing I was telling you this judge that wrote The Matrix found. And he was a judge for 15 years. And he claims our judicial system is as corrupt as it can get, and particularly the bar. I agree 100%. Because I've been in front of, what, a dozen federal judges? These guys don't give a shit. These guys got some bad karma, boy. Too bad. Because you don't need to be that way. We don't need to control others and be that way. We can all have fun, enjoy the planet and stuff like that. This planet might be a ways away from getting to that level. But, Boris, I'm a 31-year-old man suffering from prostatitis for 8 months, huh? Urologist has been no help. I'm wondering what can I do to get better. Boris, you want to fix this one, my friend. That's the family jewels. Well, if I say prostate or I say ovaries and uterus, where do I want to go to fix these tissues? I heard you. I saw you over. Kidneys and adrenals. I heard you too. Kidney and adrenals. Kidney and adrenals. You have prostatitis, you have ovarian cysts, you have endometriosis, you're getting fibroids. Where do you go? Kidneys and adrenals. This is the lymph system. Prostatitis. Anything that ends in itis is acidosis. Anything that ends in itis is inflammation. Inflammation is simply your body's immune response to deal with the situation. Most of the situations fall under acidosis and proteins or virals. Pathogens, minimally, because that's only if you tear and get trapped and things like that. Most of your bacterium is in your gut and in your lymph nodes where they should be. But you can get some interstitially with trauma and stuff. But remember, bacteria are little cleansers. They clean. They're always cleaning. They're like Pac-Man. They're always cleaning. So what would be one of the laws that nature would have to keep you from too much of a blowback from these people? Strength. Strength. Strengthen yourself. Strengthen the cells in your body, because remember the universal law. The strong survive, the weak are consumed. If you're a mother bird, or you're a baby bird in a nest of baby birds, and you're a little sickly bird, what happens to your butt? Out you go, and there's no emotions to nature. Oh, mommy, there's my little baby. There's none. The mother will do it. Because nature understands that strength survives, weaknesses create weaknesses, and pretty soon things crash down and the species is lost. So you see constantly the need to improve, to strengthen, and that's just what we're talking about right here, because a lot of you are in serious decay mode. And here's a 31-year-old who's having prostate problems, and that to me is just natural. Matter of fact, you got to be careful, because at 31 years old, this man could create cancer cells with a PSA at 2. So you can't know when you check PSAs when you're younger, because it's all about genetic weaknesses. Cells that are genetically weak can become atypical or cancer cells, dubbing that a cancer cell is a degenerative cell. Easy. It used to take a lot of years to create degeneration in the human body. Crap, kids are almost born that way now. Why? Why would man be slipping to the bowels of hell? Take a look at his lifestyle, his diet. If there's any proof of anything, it's the diet and chemistry. Hiya. Hiya. This is Tanya. Hi, Tanya. Hiya, Tanya. I have recently discovered you, and I am now eating mainly melons, fruit, and berries. Good girl. I still feel I could feel more energetic. Well, remember, when you start eating this way, and I think this is especially going to be true with you younger guys and gals, when you start eating raw, you're off protein stimulants. Boop. You're going to see your adrenals go down to their genetic pass, because you're not doing anything to stimulate their activity anymore with proteins. So everything kind of goes. So you could have a lot of low energy. It's not the foods. Not the foods. It's your body that's the problem. But the foods will fix that, and so will the herbs. And when you work through that, you get all that fixed. Now you're free, healthy, happy, vital, full of energy. Good stuff. So keep going. You just got to work through that. If you need herbs, this is why I use herbs. I don't do it all with. I don't run this clinic with just, or club with foods. I use herbs to help, because they're those sweet little things that very few people have a problem with, and they just get in and do the work. I want some advice as to what herbs to take. Well, you're feeling that little down. That's your adrenal glands, and it was rightly so. So, pee in a jar. Get yourself a mason jar. Pee in it. Make sure you see your sediments in your urine. Remember that, guys? The sediment in the urine. If your urine is totally clear, you're not filtering. So that is warning, warning, not filtering, warning, warning. Tumor formation can take place, inflammation, acidosis, pain, swelling, decay, teeth rotting, backs turning, fibromyalgia, lupus, Lyme's, no matter what they call it. So you want to make sure you're filtering. Because you don't filter or you don't remove cellular waste, where are they going? Nowhere. They're backing up and building up. That's where you get the swelling, the redness, the heat, the burning, and the pain. All from acidosis. So, kidney and adrenals always. Always. I don't care who you are. Kidneys and adrenals. Kidneys and adrenals. Baby out of mom, kidneys and adrenals. 100-year-old, kidneys and adrenals double. Let me see here. I had Tanya. I had non-hodgkins lymphoma in between my lungs 16 years ago and had chemo and radiation and have had MRI scans once a year for about 6 years now. Well, congratulations. At least you're not back. You radiated your chest wall? That's serious. All I can say, maybe you're young or something and you can pull yourself out of this. You've done pretty good to get past that time without having lung cancer, dear one. That's serious stuff. The average person gets lung cancer doing just what you did. So you did good. I want to stop having the checks and just make myself healthy and well. Can you advise? I also have 3 fungal toenails. Yeah. I am a bit tired and can be quite a short. I am a bit tired and can be quite a shorty mum. Please help. Excuse me. Well, she could have a lot of sulfur in her because she's got 3 fungal nails. So she could have, you have any orange eyes or anything? Because you've got 3 fungal nails. Well, I would take the parasite M to get rid of the fungus, but to tell you the truth, it won't get rid of it completely because this is interstitial, this is a lot. So moving your lymph will. So the twins, using a parasite M-like formula for fungus and using the lymph systems and working on your lymph systems will clean all that out. But I can tell you right off, you need to fix your adrenal glands because the fungus is definitely an adrenal weakness issue. So you want to fix your adrenal glands, you want to fix your kidneys, you want to go after your lymph system. You had non-hodgkins lymphoma, there's nothing fun about that at all. And what you had done to you just compromises your body so much more. These aren't jokes, these guys are crazy. So you haven't done anything to fix the problem. You've done nothing far as you've told me to fix your problem while you had it. So if you don't fix why you had it and you burned your cells even more, you're just waiting. It'll be 10 years, who knows. So you do want to get this, and you do want to get this now. And everything we talk about in all these videos are things you want to do. You want to start on a detox program. You want to go after what? Kidneys and adrenals, GI tract, right? Or sign up for the 14-week protocol. Or see a counselor here to help you put yourself on one. But it's enough to say you want to go in and clean up the bowels. You want to get into that lymph system, the kidneys, the adrenal glands, and whatever else you want to take care of while you're going that route. Pull your eyes and take a look at this. But if you've had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and you treated that with chemo and radiation, you just took the very same thing you're trying to treat and you sent it out the moon and brought it right back into you. You can burn things away and things like that. It's only a matter of time to when you get the kickback from that. You know, none of these things are curative things. None of them. They're not to cure. You can't burn out cancer. I mean, you can't burn out this. You just create more cells. So you really want to go after your lymph system, sweetheart. And that's your kidneys, adrenals, lymphatics. So I recommend 2 kidney formulas, a lymphatic formula, a lymph node formula. That's one is a capsule and one's a liquid. I recommend an endocrine gland formula and an adrenal gland formula. If your blood pressure is low, I hitchhike licorice root on it. I would also, I don't know where your inner condition is right now, but I would definitely use a lung formula, lungs 2. I would sip on 3 lung tea and use a pinch of baking soda, aluminum free with that, just to bring some alkalization in, get the blood work, take a look at your latest blood work. Be careful with the MRIs. They're better, but without contrast. You do not want the contrast. But what are you looking for? I repeat, all they're looking for is to see when that damage they did comes and gives you a big swelling there again. You know, if you're not moving out lymph, when they destroy cells, where do they go? Chemo and radiation literally destroy cells. So where do those cells that they destroyed in your chest wall, where are they gone? And it can't be through your lymph system because your lymph system isn't working right. It's backed up. That's why you have the tumor. Okay? So where's all that damage going? That's my point. Local nodes have probably sucked them up, but I'll tell you what. You have to fix your kidney and adrenals, sweetheart. That's all I can say about that. Important to do that. See where we're going with all this, guys? You can treat your problems, I get that, but then fix them. Or the nightmare shall return. You know, you can't say, I just burnt this out both chemically and electrically, and now I'm free from this. That's a pseudo security blanket they give you. I cannot pronounce your name, so I'll say niche. Hello, I've heard you say protein is not useful for people to consume. Does the same apply to collagen powder? Absolutely. Absolutely. All this has to be produced from the chemistry of the fruits, berries, melons, and what vegetables you eat as well. Everything is produced out of the chemistry of life, but the chemistry in life that's suited for your body. Isn't collagen easier to digest and absorb compared to other proteins? Yeah, probably, such as cheese or nuts, and alkaline rather than acidic. I suppose, but really don't need to do that. You really don't need to do anything like that. I mean, you could go to horse's hoofs and stuff like that even. But, I mean, you really don't need to do anything like that. Really, I mean, it's like, you know, collagen chemistry is like here. You're consuming like here. So I don't know. You know, I'm not into isolate thinking like that. No need. The body builds its own. So I don't know. I'm about the body building its own constituents and its own need out of the bowels of the earth, the chemistry of the earth, or from the trees, the plants. Makes sense. This is Barbara. Have searched regarding your take on hemophilia A inherited from mother, severe. We are vegan, but husband is still taking factor 8 as a I don't even pronounce that one, to reduce damage from bleeding episodes. Okay, already had knee replacement mentioned 3 years ago at 37. Oh, isn't that bad? Choice of herbs to detox is limited, as some say, to avoid it. Bleeding disorders, any input. Many thanks for your great videos, learning so much. South Africa. Yeah, we have a bleeding formula. I'd be on that as a regular dosage. Furthermore, why would you bleed? All right, interstitial, capillary weakness. So you want to go to the parathyroid gland. You want to get into the parathyroid gland. You want to get into your endocrine glands. Clean your liver out. Clean your spleen out. Clean your bowels. Clean your kidneys and adrenals. Get your lymph filtering. Turn on these tissues. And make sure you hit that parathyroid gland. Make sure you hit that parathyroid gland with the bones forming and strengthen yourself up a little bit here and that way. At the same time, make sure you're onto those adrenal glands. You're onto the kidneys, and that you're hydrating yourself. It's not about having a whole bunch of herbs, but the right ones are very important. And you want to go, again, after the kidneys, adrenals, because you've got to bring your systemic issue into an alkaline balance. Number one, you got to strengthen up connective tissue. Number two, clean your spleen, clean your liver out. Get everybody filtering, and you'll overcome this. I don't have a lot of time, that's why I'm kind of choosing some shorter ones, because I don't have a lot of time, and most of these are pages long. So forgive me about that, okay? But Let's see, Costa Rica Project. What's this? Okay, let's see what's being said here. You all give hope to so many others. Oh, this is being nice. What is this? About how many simple habits. I am a 24-year-old male student. So at 24, immediately you know you have kidney and adrenal weakness. You can just take that to the bank. So you want to work on that immediately. That's a lymph system. So you immediately want to work on that. And that's your nerves, nervous systems, things like that. I am 24-year-old male going for renewable energy at a tech school, college in Wisconsin. Ooh, cold, but I love your soil. I love to have watermelon grown in Wisconsin soil. Crimson sweets. Oh, jubilees. Oh, my God. You guys got some gnarly black soil up there. Baby, when you're growing food, minerals are nice. But I don't want to stop there. I am very interested in joining the team of natural healer, detoxification specialists for the human race. I see too many people. Thank you. I need your help. I need all the help I can get here, guys. Remember how some of you got here. If you're watching your dreams, keep remembering. It'll start coming to you all. Alan, join the group, man. You know, start bringing on videos, helping your friends, come to class, and start working with people. It's fun. And people need help all over the place, that's for sure. And so, it's fun to help people. It makes you feel good to see someone that's suffering come out of that. Hey, bought some lymph capsules from a distributor and can't really smell the herbs a lot. Uh-oh. Aren't you supposed to be able to smell herbs? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Especially if they're pure and potent. You're right on. Uh-huh. Or are there certain herbs that aren't that aromatic? There are certain herbs, you know, your roots and tubers and stuff are not so aromatic, but you still can smell the musky smell. So you really should, I think. I know you open our bottles and they're pretty brisky, even encapsulated. So, yeah, that's my thought too. If you open a bottle of herbs, they should be strong. But I suppose you're going to get a formula that maybe doesn't have the aromatic smell as others, particularly if it's more leaves and less flowers and stuff. Possible. But you should get some herbal kick from that. When you walk into our building over there, the smell is good, strong. So I agree with you. Absolutely. So I don't know what to say about that. I hope that's not our formulas, because we pride ourselves on our formulas. But you never know. Once they leave here, you never know what happens, you know. So we just hope that everybody keeps everything as cool and nice and everything as possible, because we really need helping hands. A lot of people really need our help. And we need to do that. Oh, this is Miss King. Oh, message. Hi, Dr. Morris, calling here. I love you and I'm grateful. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. I love you too, sweetheart. A child in my life, one for whom I unfortunately have little say in terms of life decisions, has been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. She is 13 years young. I know you have addressed this issue before, but I told my dear husband that I would write to you. Please be so kind to speak to the fear this child's parents face as they become increasingly indoctrinated into the world of daily insulin injections. Blessings. Oh boy, this is so important, sweetheart. I'm glad you brought that up. But you're right, we've addressed it so many times. I'll say this to that family. Since Marcy, I mean, I've kicked out type 1 for years, but since Marcy's been a type 1 for 35 years, and you've heard her talk here, she has a lot more to say about it than I do, because I'm just go do. But she can probably emotionally help her and help the parents and things like this. But the parents need to be worried about the opposite problem. A lifetime of insulin is hell. Insulin is a hormone. So when you use that, you lose what? Your pancreatic enzymes even you could lose. You have to be careful. You'll lose the beta cells for sure. And then when you fix this, hard to produce the insulin that you need. So this is the problem. Insulin is not a remedy at all, and it's the worst one you can go on. You want to go on your raw fruits and berries and melons and vegetables, and when your blood sugars comes down enough, get on glucophage or metformin if you have to, but get off of insulin. Here's the thing, and we've shown you that, we demonstrated that. Marcy was even here telling you that the other day. When you go on fruit, she has to stop her insulin, or we're pumping sugar down her because she's about to pass out on us. And it's just, you can't do that. If fruit toast does not require insulin. So it's an ATP, ADP, AMP former on its very own. But glucose is an inferior sugar, since it's a vegetable sugar, thank you very much, and it does need a carrier of insulin. So get away from the veggies, it's not a food for her anyway, and start regenerating that pancreas, because you don't know, one, whether it's a neurological type 1 or it's a beta cell type 1, weakness within the beta cells. Either one. So a weakness in the beta cells, the only time you can get a weakness in a cell is when you consume chemistry that can hurt you, generally neurotoxins, and that suppresses the nervous system to the tissues, which then suppresses the production of anything, but also the lymph system in its inflammation, mucus forming, and agglomulation. If you look, and we'll have them up for class, but we'll show you the cells of cancer cells and stuff and show you how that protein, and you read it in research all the time, how cells either in the brain or anywhere in the body get this amyloid, we call it mucoid, but amyloid plaque. How does that plaque get there? Yeah, if you don't know the lymph system, you wouldn't be able to answer that question. It'd be horrible not to be able to answer that question, because that's the reason you have Alzheimer's. But it's the reason you have all these problems, because mucus and proteins not only surround and suffocate cells, but it creates obstruction to the flow of blood and lymph eventually, swells the local tissue. It's in the heart. You can go out with congestive heart failure, on and on and on and on and on. So this girl is in trouble, not just in her blood sugars. And you don't know if she had, being young like this, she definitely has kidney and adrenals, so you don't know if there is a neurological kick from the adrenal glands up to that beta cells too. So you want to make healthy everything. You clean up the GI tract. The pancreas is a branch off of that gut wall. You're going to get into the pancreas with pancreatic herbs. We do have blood sugar herbs if you want to use that to control blood sugar levels. Get her on only fruits. She'll load for a while in her detoxing of lipids and stuff, but she'll eventually settle right down, and that'll keep her blood sugars perfect. She won't need insulin. The worst thing you can do is jump into insulin, because medical doctors don't really know how to control well, and a lot of times they overload. Well, now you have another problem coming your way. And I think we were here and told you about that problem with one of our clients who goes into the shakes and low blood sugar in the upper 80s. Got to be real careful how you treat things. And this is just a beta cell problem, whether it's a neurological or weakness in the beta cells, it doesn't matter. You can pull a picture of her eyes, take a look at the pancreatic area, but you want to clean up the bowels. That's a connecting link. Your kidneys and adrenal glands get into that lymph system, and fix your daughter. You fix your daughter, she'll have a nice life. You don't fix your daughter and you get caught in the AMA, it's hell to pay. And there's a lot of blind 20-year-old ladies and men, particularly females, blind in chairs from type 1, of parents that couldn't think outside of the box. You know, when you're with a doctor and he isn't doing it and getting your kids or you well, change docs. If you buy this, that there's nothing you can do for them and they have to live this way, then you just sunk down and lost your power. Someone has stole your power from you, whether it's a medical doctor, whoever, and now they're dictating to you what you can or can't do, or your children. I say take that mantle off and start getting with the reality of God and the fact that there's a remedy for every single thing, because it's simply reversing how you're creating this. Man's creating these problems. They're not flying in from some illusionary place that medical doctors made up. So you want to fix your kids. You know, all these moms and everybody love their kids, but they doesn't seem to want to fix them the right way. So you need to. Because these are our future on this planet. It's how God uses it. You know, it's that rebirth and regeneration. And they're going through this so they can be fixed and then help others to fix themselves. And we can fix these children. Genetics. Remember, we regenerate genetic weaknesses. So, have fun getting your daughter healthy. And if you're the daughter listening to this, sweetheart, you become a fruitarian for a while and fix this, because your life will be miserable if you don't. You'll probably end up being that young on a pump and all kinds of things. And if you're brittle, it's a nightmare even worse. So, it isn't fun to play these nightmare games when you can fix them. And this is a channel to fix. So there's a lot of YouTubers here that know how to fix and help people. Lots of them. Thousands around the world are helping themselves and fixing others. Join the fun, because it is fun. I love you all, and I'll be back to do a video hopefully this weekend. Is this Friday, Attila?
Yep.
Uh-oh. Yeah, probably might have to piggyback it on this one. Maybe if Chris is over there, I can get this chip taken out of here. But I love you all. Watch your dreams. Before you go to bed at night, clear yourself. Relax and align yourself with whatever you know of as God and the light and spirit, or the prana or the life force flowing through you. Don't dictate it. Don't even try to travel. Just totally surrender and relax and be in the now. Thoughts come, send them away. Desires come, send them away. Okay? And enjoy the now for a while. You all deserve it. To the next video, I will see you. You all have fun. And class is coming. See you guys. Bye-bye.